really good indication of the sentiment Donald Trump gives off during debates. And he is the king of crowning nicknames, the king of insults. How does a Democrat, and how does Kamala Harris, who has never met Donald Trump in person, effectively debate Donald Trump tonight?
So I think it's a really good point, because I think a lot of Democrats are dismissive of Trump's sort of candidate skills generally. Like, how could anyone support him? And the truth is, he's pretty charismatic. You can argue whether it's for good or bad, but he is pretty charismatic. And as a debater, he's, number one, very experienced. This will be his 7th general election debate. 7th. I mean, that's remarkable. 3 in 2016, 2 in 2020, and then 1 with Joe Biden in 2024. No other modern candidate has debated that many times in a general election setting. So that's number one. Number two, this is a guy who is super comfortable on camera, right? He's a reality TV star. He's basically an executive producer. He knows where to look and where the camera is and when to scowl. And right, he gets all of the theatrics that go into a performance like this. And number three, he's an asymmetric debater. And by that, I mean, you kind of never know where he's coming from, right? He's not traditional or orthodox in any way, and that is challenging because Kamala Harris has largely debated people who are sort of orthodox politicians. Whenever you think of Mike Pence, I mean, Mike Pence, who she debated in the VP debate in 2020, he's a pretty standard issue politician. Mike Pence is not going to say anything in a debate or do anything in a debate that's going to really surprise you. Donald Trump might. And so for all those reasons, I think that he is challenging. Now, one other thing I'll add quickly. Donald Trump's biggest enemy in a debate is Donald Trump. I mean, this is true generally of his campaign, but he will say and do things that he should not say or do that will get him in trouble. If he could not do those things, he'd be a better debater. If he could not do those things, he would not be Donald Trump, right? So it's a real mixed bag when it comes to him, but I do not think he is as easy to beat in a debate as Democrats might think.
That's the main consensus of the people I've talked to. What they say, Donald Trump is his biggest strength. It's also his biggest weakness. Going into the debate tonight, what is Vice President Kamala Harris's biggest strength and biggest weakness?
Biggest strength, I think, is that people want to believe that things will get better. That we've seen that play out in election after election. It doesn't matter Democrat, Republican, but people want to believe that the future is going to be brighter than the present. And Harris has done a very good job of harnessing joy and optimism. So I think she needs to stay on that road. Now, in contrast, Trump's vision and tone and tenor is very dark. I was actually just going through a speech he gave in Wisconsin over the weekend, where he basically predicted that if he loses, we will be in World War III, a recession, Israel will fail to exist, and democracy may fail to exist. Just those 4 things. So, I mean, he has a much darker vision. So I think that is a strength for her. Focus on your positive vision for the country, because I still believe those undecided voters, and there aren't many of them, but those undecided voters, that's what they want to hear. Her weakness, she hasn't done it before, right? I mean, I always say the first time I was ever on TV, I was super nervous. The 100th time I was on TV, I was a lot less nervous. It's the same thing. Now, she's been in a VP debate, but she's never been in this debate with these stakes against this guy. And so, sure, I mean, I think anyone who's not done it before, I think, is going to be a little rough around the edges. My guess is she probably starts a little slow because of that. We'll see if she picks up. But I think that's, and she can't control that, obviously. I mean, you can do lots of practice debates, but until you're in it, you haven't had that experience.